The film begins in a small Norwegian town called Otta, where a female doctor named Camilla is looking after an elderly woman in a hospital. After seeing the woman, she goes to the front of the hospital and chats with her work friends, Dr. Herman and a nurse named C0ld. We discover that the hospital will have to close because it's too far from the city, and there are hardly any sick people to care for. Soon after, Camilla's boyfriend, who is a police officer named Ole, comes to see her. While they're talking, his boss calls saying they found an abandoned car near the mountains, so he says goodbye to Camilla and leaves. When Ole arrives there, he sees the car completely covered in snow and realizes that no one has touched it for 2 or 3 days. He asks people if anyone reported someone missing, but everyone says no. Then he gets in the car and starts heading to the police station. But after a while, Ole almost crashes the car because a strange woman appears in the middle of the road holding a pickaxe. The woman faints immediately because she's very tired and cold. He puts her in the car and calls Camilla, telling her what happened. Ole says the woman is covered in blood, but she says the blood isn't hers. Hey, the movie I'm going to summarize is called Pr3y 2. In English, C0ld Pr3y 2. It's a really cool movie that mixes suspense and horror and continues from where the first one left off. If you haven't watched the summary of C0ld Pr3y 1, I'll leave the video link in the first pinned comment. I recommend watching it before watching this one, so you don't get lost in the story. Before getting into the summary, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and leave a like to receive the best recaps. After they take care of her, the police arrive and ask how she ended up there. The woman says her name is Jannicke and that she was with friends in the mountains snowboarding. When one of her friends hurt his leg, they entered an old hotel to rest. There, a strange mountain man killed all her friends, but she managed to kill him. Jannicke tells them where the bodies are, and when they ask why she had the pickaxe, she says she was afraid the mountain man would come back. After that, the police chief, Einar, talks to Dr. Herman and asks if the woman's head is okay. The police decide to go see the place she mentioned, but they leave a police officer named Sverre to watch the hospital. When the police arrive at the location, it's snowing heavily, and they see something very terrible. They find several dead bodies, including that of the scary mountain man. Back at the hospital, a little boy named Daniel goes to see Jannicke in her room. He asks her to play video games, but she says she's very tired. Meanwhile, the police take the bodies and put them in their vans. Einar says that he and Ole will take the bodies to the hospital to examine them better, while the other 2 officers have to secure the area and then check the hotel. In the next part, the bodies are taken to the same hospital. The doctors prepare to examine the bodies closely and take photos of them. At this point, Einar looks at the killer's body and sees a mark near his eyes. This makes him remember something, and he runs to the police station. Getting there, he takes some old papers from unsolved cases and reads about a boy who disappeared in those mountains 30 years ago. The strangest thing is that this boy had the same mark near his eyes as the mountain man. In the place where they keep the bodies, Audhild is removing clothes from the dead and storing their belongings in bags. On the other side, Camilla tells Jannicke that they found her friends' bodies and brought them here and asks if she wants to see them. Sometime later, the 2 women go to see the bodies. Jannicke becomes very sad and cries when she sees her dead friends. But when she sees the killer's body, she gets very angry, but before she can do anything, Camilla calms her down. Elsewhere, the other 2 police officers, Kim and Johan, arrive at the hotel to investigate where the deaths occurred, but they find nothing but some blood. At this point, Einar asks them to return to the hole where they found the bodies, because he thinks there might be more there. Now he's reading old news about various people who disappeared in this region when they were in the mountains. Soon after, the police arrive at the hole, and Kim stays on top while Johan goes down. After searching a bit, he gets very scared when he finds several dead bodies that seem to have been there for a long time. Back to the morgue at the hospital, while Audhild is trying to remove the mountain man's clothes, he suddenly starts moving. It seems he wasn't dead. Very frightened, the nurse calls the doctors running. Even knowing he's a very dangerous killer, they decide to save him, because that's their job. Soon after, Jannicke hears the commotion and goes to see what's happening. When she sees that the doctors are trying to save the killer, she gets very angry. She starts acting violently and even hits Sverre in the face. But the officer restrains her, and they take her back to her room. After the doctors do what they needed to do, the mountain man's heart starts beating normally again. Sverre handcuffs him to the bed and sits watching him. When the doctors leave, c0ld stays with Sverre and starts taking care of his injuries. They start saying sweet things to each other and flirting. c0ld says her shift is over and she's going home. But when she's leaving, the worst happens. Before the officer could see anything, the killer grabs a medical tool and cuts his throat in one swift motion. Meanwhile, c0ld goes to shower, unaware of the danger approaching. After the shower, she dries her hair and gets dressed. She walks down the hallway and sees that everything is dark. A little scared, c0ld tries to find the light switch and turns on the light. But that's when the killer appears and hits her with a fire extinguisher. A little while later, she wakes up and is inside the shower. As soon as she opens her eyes, she sees the mountain man in front of her, and he hits her with the same extinguisher until she dies. Elsewhere, Dr. Herman and Camilla are surprised when the lights go out and the entire hospital goes dark. Dr. Herman goes to check the power generator, while Camilla goes to check on the patients. Meanwhile, Einar is studying the mountain man's past and sees a video with the boy's parents. They tell how he went out to play as he always did and never came back. In another news story, it talked about various horrible things that happened near the abandoned hotel, which made the tourists leave and the hotel end up closing. After searching more, Einar finds a news story about a man who didn't die in a fire that someone started on purpose at that hotel. The man was a regional doctor named Haldor, so Einar calls him and they arrange to meet at a cafeteria. Back at the hospital, Jannicke suddenly wakes up and tries to get up, but sees she's tied up because of the fight she had earlier. Meanwhile, Camilla is walking down the dark hallway when she sees c0ld's clothes on the floor. She calls for her and goes to the bathroom, where she slips on something and falls. When the lights come on, she sees c0ld's badly injured body in front of her and gets very scared. On the other side, Herman is trying to fix the generator when he feels someone in the room. He turns around and comes face to face with the mountain man. Very scared, Herman tries to flee but falls down the stairs. The killer breaks his neck immediately, killing him. Meanwhile, Camilla is very scared and goes to the reception to make a call, but sees that the phone doesn't work. She realizes the killer is coming and quickly hides behind the counter. The killer walks around there and grabs something to kill with. Luckily, he doesn't see her and leaves. Elsewhere, Einar meets the former Dr. Haldor, and Haldor tells the story of the mountain man's family. He says many people looked for the family over the years, but never found them. He also thinks the parents might have been killed, and says the boy was never normal. When he was born dead, and the doctors said he had died. But 4 hours later, his heart started beating out of nowhere. At the hospital, Jannicke continues trying to free herself when little Daniel enters the room and she asks him to help untie her. The boy looks in the closet, gets scissors and cuts the restraints. Jannicke asks him to be very quiet because she thinks something is wrong. After a while, the two go to the room where the mountain man was imprisoned before, but only find the empty bed with handcuffs. At this point, Jannicke sees him walking down the hallway and she backs away. After the killer leaves, she hides Daniel in a closet and tells him not to come out until she returns. In the next part, Jannicke goes to the hospital laboratory, where first she cries a lot. Then she fills a syringe with a deadly medicine, wanting to use it against the killer. At the same time, Camilla finds her cell phone and immediately calls c0ld. He doesn't answer, so she leaves a message telling him what's happening. She goes to the laboratory to hide, but Jannicke attacks her with the syringe, thinking she's the killer. But luckily, she didn't inject the deadly medicine. The two then make a plan for how to deal with the killer and decide they need to save the two patients first, Daniel and an elderly woman. But when they leave the room, Camilla says she won't leave without Herman and runs to look for him. Meanwhile, Daniel is playing when he gets scared by the sound of things falling. Then Jannicke goes to look for him, but sees the closet is empty. On the other side, when Camilla arrives at the morgue, she hears footsteps approaching. She hides under a wheeled table they use to carry the dead, while the mountain man gets his things back, including his pickaxe. Camilla hangs under the bed, but ends up getting tired and falls. This shows where she is, but Jannicke arrives at the right time and pushes a wheeled table against the killer. The girls run out of the room and lock the metal door. Daniel also appears and the three run out of the hospital. Luckily, the police have just arrived and Jannicke says the killer is trapped in the morgue. But she doesn't want to risk it anymore. She decides to finish off the mountain man herself, but Einar won't let her, saying they'll handle it. The police put her in the locked car to make sure she'll stay quiet. After that, the officers prepare to enter the hospital, including Ole. Camilla begs him not to go, but he says everything will be fine. Soon after, Daniel's mother arrives to pick him up, and he says goodbye to the women. Einar, along with Kim and Ole, enters the hospital with weapons, while Johan stays in the car with the women. Shortly after, the officers reach the morgue, but don't find anyone inside. This makes them realize the mountain man has escaped again. When they're leaving, they find Sverre's dead body in the hallway. Seeing this, Kim gets very sad, and even though Einar tells him not to do it, he goes to the body. But as soon as he does this, he gets caught in a wire trap. The mountain man pulls him into a room, and then Einar finds Kim already dead inside. The killer also goes after Ole and attacks him very violently. Einar goes after them to a room, but is also attacked there. Outside, Johan tries to talk to his friends, but no one responds. This makes Jannicke realize that the mountain man killed all the police officers. With nothing else to do, Johan and the women decide to go in. But before they can get out of the car, the mountain man appears and kills Johan with one blow. The killer starts making holes in the car with a piece of metal, while Jannicke asks Camilla to get the officer's gun. But the killer breaks the window and pulls Camilla out. Seeing this, Jannicke breaks the window to escape. The mountain man is about to kill Camilla when Ole shoots him from behind. He falls to the ground and seems to have died. At this point, Jannicke gets the gun from the car and tries to shoot the killer. But when she sees Camilla crying, she goes to comfort her. Unfortunately, this was a bad decision, because when she looks again seconds later, the killer has already disappeared. Jannicke gets very angry and sees the blood marks from his feet and realizes he's going back to the hotel. Determined to end everything once and for all, she takes a shotgun, puts on a police jacket and snow goggles. She gets on a snowmobile and goes to the hotel. Camilla begs her not to go, saying she'll die, but Jannicke doesn't listen to her and goes anyway. When she arrives at the hotel, she looks around, but doesn't see the mountain man anywhere. Jannicke then waits for the killer to arrive, but she's so tired that she ends up falling asleep. In the next part, day breaks, and Jannicke wakes up, but she sees that the front door is open, with snow on the floor. She turns around quickly and sees him right behind her. Jannicke tries to shoot him with her weapon, but he easily takes the gun away from her. He starts playing with her, while Jannicke tries hard to get the shotgun. Finally, the mountain man decides to kill her. But then, someone shoots him from behind. It's Camilla, and with her shot, she blew off 2 of his fingers. She tries to shoot him again, but he gets very angry and throws her out of the hotel. The mountain man grabs her and starts trying to gouge out her eyes. But luckily, Jannicke gets his pickaxe and hits him, piercing his stomach. This makes him fall to the ground. Here, Camilla thinks he's finally dead, but Jannicke doesn't want to risk it anymore. She takes the shotgun and shoots directly at his head. And so the film ends. What rating would you give this movie? Which movie did you think was better, C0ld Pr3y 1 or 2? Write in the comments. And don't forget to activate the bell to be notified of new summaries. So see you next time.